Today on the show, we are going to review 2024. We'll share our favorite albums, songs, and artists this year. So, we talked about our top live shows a couple episodes ago. So, we'll also give a nod to our own version of Entertainer of the Year, Artist of the Year, and more.
Yeah, and there's so much great music to choose from. 2024 was indeed a banner year for Americana and Roots music. We started the year with Sierra Farrell's Explosion. We had crazy stories this year, like Jason Isbell and Amanda Shires announcing their divorce. We had an inordinate amount of amazing collaborations launched. Some of them didn't include Noah Kahn, but most of them did. Yeah, there was a lot, and Noah had half of them anyway.
So we wanted to put a bow on 2024 and run down our favorites. So let's get it started, shall we? I want to talk about the top songs of the year first. There were so many good ones to consider, but I'm going to kick off our review with my top 10 songs of 2024, if that's okay with you, Mr. Falls.
I can't wait. Let's do it.
All right. So initially when I compiled this list, I tried to do it like in order of, like my favorite to 10th favorite. I don't know if it quite will set that way, so I'll just read the ones that I have come up with. Okay. So my favorite songs of 2024. I have Until We Meet Again by Hermanos Gutierrez, Without Warning by the Nets, their Chicago local band. Without You, Ella Salter and the Sunday Sinners, and Ella and her band are friends of the show. A new single from Sarah Jean Stevens called Thaw that was just released in December, I do believe early December, I'm sorry. And it is really beautiful. And again, Sarah Jean is a friend of the show. Coming in next, I have Hello Sunshine by John Mook, Escanaba by Billy Strings, which is interestingly enough, an instrumental song, just like Until We Meet Again by Hermanos Gutierrez. I've not been known to really get excited about instrumental only songs, but those two they're just awesome. So then Hunt You Down by Caitlin Butts, that is a jam. Lone Star Lake by Waxahachie, Rotations from Adeem the Artist, and Lighthouse by Sierra Farrell.
That's an impressive list. I'm taking notes here.
Okay, good.
And I can go back and listen to the recording, obviously, but I'm kind of taking notes because I'm like, wow, this is really good stuff. And a couple of these songs I haven't even heard. So I think what that tells me is my list is going to be much more of someone who follows the top 40 charts in the different genres, because you've got some deep cuts from some very specific artists. The the Nets are a band that I probably wouldn't have heard had it not been, or not heard of even, had it not been for you. Mine's a little bit more not mainstream. It's not a bunch of Morgan Wallen songs. My songs are much more Americana chart toppers, or stuff that would have been played frequently commercially as well, I think. But so just out of comparison. So I'll go ahead and these are my top songs, my top singles of the year. And I did put them in order, and I probably shouldn't have, because you could shuffle the deck here and any one of them would be fantastic. But I think my favorite song this year by far in a lot of ways was Hero by Marcus King. I love Marcus King. Obviously I saw him 4 times live this year. I love that song, and I love all of his work. So it was hard for him not to be on the list. And it was difficult for me not to put 2 or 3 Marcus King songs on the list. I do have at least one artist with 2 songs on this list, but it's not Marcus King. So everyone can probably guess who it is. But
I think I know.
The number 2 song that I put, and this is a little bit more of me kind of caving into other people's pressure. I like the song. I don't think it's the best song on the album for my personal tastes. But when you take all of the attention and the success and the meaning behind it, American Dreaming by Sierra Farrell has to be amongst your top 5, I think, if you're, paying attention to the broader, kind of commercial market and all that good stuff. So I've got her at number 2. Questions, Chaos, and Faith by Joy Aladakun is my 3rd on my list. I love that song. It was one of the first singles off of her new album. So it was released a few months before the full album was. Observations from a Crowded Room, I think. And I just love that song. Number 4, and this one took me a little bit of consideration because it has kind of faded out a little bit. It was more of an early of the year song, but it was so big when it came out that it had to be in my top 5, and that's $10 Cowboy by Charlie Crockett. Just kind of redefined and helped him explode a little bit bigger than he already had. and definitely an identifiable phrase for a lot of people thanks to him. Mint Tea by Johnny Blue Skies, a.k.a. Sturgill Simpson's my number 5. I've also got a Billy Strings song on the list, and this is a latecomer, Gild the Lily, his latest single. I think is just really good, and I just love it, and it sounds good. It's a little slow for him, kind of a, you know, it's not necessarily your, you know, mainstream bluegrass, fast picking kind of sound, which is normally Billy Strings, but it's just a really sweet song. I really like it a lot. Bon Iver, Speyside. His latest single that's out. It's been played a lot on FPK and has become an earworm for me. So that's my number 7. Number 8 is Empty Trainload of Sky, Gillian Welch, and David Rawlings, who I had the honor of seeing live this year. That was one of the artists I saw, and just fantastic. Watching David Rawlings play guitar live or on, you know, video is an experience because he just plays it very differently than other people. But hearing what comes out of the guitar is fantastic, and so I love that song. I also have a Waxahachie tune on here. Right back to it, Waxahachie featuring MJ Linderman. Love the collaboration there between those two, and that song's on my list. And my number 10 is I'd Miss the Birds, Joy Lottacoon. So she's got 2 entries on my list, but I'd Miss the Birds is, I love the song because it's this sort of lamentation of not feeling like she belongs, you know, in a town where she should. And I that's one of the reasons why I identify with her music a lot is I always feel like a little out of place. And I think her music expresses that, you know, sort of not belonging kind of feeling a lot. So those are my top 10. So again, mine are much more of the mainstream radio friendly, not mainstream country, but Americana friendly artists. Yours are a little bit more granular and deep cuts and whatnot, which goes to show you why you know more about this shit than I do. So
I don't know about that, and I agree with you about American Dreaming from Sierra Farrell. It is a beautiful song, and it just my, I guess, attitude towards like popular mainstream, as you say, is that sometimes the most popular songs to me aren't the best. And you even mentioned that. So that's why I didn't include it. And I really like the song Lighthouse. The first time I heard it, I was like, you know, like I felt it. And to me, that is more important than popularity, according to other people. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Am I explaining that?
Yeah, no, that makes sense.
I feel like I'm okay. All right. So yeah, and not to take away from that song because it is beautiful, but your list, I'm not surprised by any of your picks, you know, especially with Marcus King and Joy Lottacoon. But yeah, that's great. And like you said, some of that stuff I haven't even heard yet.
Yeah.
So, you know, I should be taking notes too.
Well, and that's what we say about such great music. I mean, these are our opinions, and there's 100 songs that could have been on either one of these lists, maybe more. So, and that's the beautiful thing about music is if you're ranking your top 10 lists, it's going to be very different than mine because music can mean a lot of different things and sound a lot of different ways to a lot of different people.